What is up, everybody? Jacob here, and we're back with another video. In today's video, we got this truck that we just finished up behind me. Got a few minor things that we're touching up. The owner of this truck is on his way to pick it up. Before we do, we got about 100 grand worth of washing and striping coming up within the next couple of months. Stay tuned, hit that like and subscribe button, and I will be putting out content on that as well. If you would like to learn how we land big jobs just like that, go check out that first link in the comment section and the description. Local Domination 2, go check that out. Also, Quote IQ will also be linked in the comment section and the description right below Local Domination 2. Highly recommend you go check that out. They got some new updates that they just came out with, some really good stuff that they're doing with it. Really effective stuff to make your life a lot easier, especially if you were in the wash industry. It is Wash Guys that did develop that software. So if you are a soft wash company or you're looking to get into this industry, that is the CRM to go with. It'll be the second link in the comment section and the description. We did do a trailer build about probably 6 months ago for these guys. A lot of y'all might have seen the video where we installed the Predator pump, which we ended up moving to the backside of this truck. This is an Isuzu truck with a 16-foot flatbed, and they came to us with this idea probably about 3 months ago, I guess, and said that they had just purchased a truck, that they were getting the bed and the rack and all of that stuff recoated. As far as the bed, they got the surface cleaner rack mounted underneath. They got to do some modifications to that, being that he decided to go with the new 24-inch Bandit surface cleaner versus the 20-inch Whirlaway. This is fitted for a 20-inch Whirlaway surface cleaner as of now. They're going to do some adjustments to it so that he is able to fit the new Bandit 24-inch. The handles on the Bandit 24-inch are straight handles, unlike the Whirlaway surface cleaners, which have the 90-degree handles. So he's gonna adjust that, and shouldn't be too bad. They just gotta cut a little section out, basically extend it out a little more, and shouldn't have any issues with it fitting after he makes those adjustments. Moving on from there, the ladder rack. None of this was bolted down whenever he brought it to us. He kind of brought it to us one day. We didn't have time to really start on it that day that he brought it. That was last Thursday, so we were gearing up for the long weekend and things like that. So we weren't able to really get started on it that day. We had some washes going on that day as well that we were getting ready to leave for. But he was able to bring it by. We were able to get some before pictures of what the truck looked like. That way I was able to kind of draw some stuff out on the iPad for him to send over to him to make sure that we had everything laid out correctly and had the right idea of what he was looking for. That way, we're giving the customer everything that they want, and they're happy with the final product that we're producing for them. So we did have to pull, like I said, the pump and the 2 pressure washers on the back. Also that manifold on the right side we pulled off for this 1-inch Predator pump. We pulled their 12-volt pump off, which is in one of the diamond plate boxes on the opposite side of the truck over there. I'll get around to that in a second, but pretty much Tuesday was mounting hose reels. We were still waiting on this 4th hose reel right here, which has his feed hose on it. We were also able to plumb in this manifold right here, which is his 12-volt manifold. We were able to run his water line and his chemical line up to his tanks, get all that tidied up and looking pretty. We were able to bolt down the actual ladder rack frame itself because we had to move that back a little bit to where you could raise the cab up on the truck. Due to how these motors and trucks are designed, the cab does lift up. So to keep the ladder rack from being in the way whenever, if he ever needs to bring it to the mechanic shop or anything like that, then we were able to scoot that ladder rack back a little bit so he doesn't have to worry about that in the future. So moving on from the 3 hose reels, this hose reel, the 4th one, came in yesterday, luckily. That way we were able to finish up everything today. Got all 4 reels mounted on the truck, feed hose, soft wash hose, and 2 pressure reels. We got everything plumbed in. We got the jumpers running for the pressure washers. We got the feed hose coming from the reel going to the Predator pump, and we put a T right here in line, so that way instead of running 2 different hose reels, one for his 12-volt and one for his Predator, we were able to put a T here, and we went 1 inch all the way to the reel. That way he doesn't lose any flow before he gets to the reel, but we came off with a 3/4 reducer. So this one runs under the tank to the outlet of his 12-volt pump, and this one runs from here to the outlet of this Predator pump. So from this pump, inlet line coming in from this way, and then this is one that goes to the reel, to the T that I just showed you. This dump valve line right here, zip tied, they run around right here. That dump valve goes to this cam lock fitting that we reduced down to a 1-inch. That way if he ever needs to fill up any buckets or rinse his hands or anything like that, he's able to just cut this valve on right here. Or if he doesn't want to ride with all the water, if he's got a full tank of water, and he's able to just drain his tank off of the back of the truck. Got the 2 pressure washers mounted. The suction hoses ran for those with inline 1-inch filters going to either side of the water tank, there and there, which is also running with that suction hose going to the inlet side of the 1-inch pump, which comes around and it goes up the side right here and ties into his manifold here. Coming from his manifold, you got obviously your chemical side and your water side. Water side, just like on the trailer build whenever we had originally set it up, we did set up and keep it just the 1-inch regular ball valve for his water side, and he has the metering valve for his chemical side. And these 2 lines, this one goes up to the water tank with a bulkhead on the top, and then this one, it goes down to follow the water hose, and then up this bar right here to the front tank, which is his chemical tank. So we were able to tie all that in on day 1, mount everything that we had. So we got the trailer Wednesday morning, took about half a day, pulled the pressure washers off of the trailer, pulled the pump off of the trailer. We pulled that manifold off of the trailer. We had this one sitting in the store. We had already had it built out for him, and we were waiting on him to bring us the build and things like that. So we've been holding on to this one for him. We had this one, and we're able to throw this on there whenever we mounted everything else on the first day. Went ahead and plumbed this in. This is for his 12-volt. This first valve here is his water, so same thing as the 1-inch manifold. It's going down to the bed of the truck. It goes up and goes right next to his bulkhead that's on the 1-inch manifold. And then same thing with his chemical. This is his chemical valve. Now this manifold is made up of all metering valves. There is no regular 1-inch or 3/4 ball valve on this. These are all metering valves, so he is able to cut his water back if he ever needs to. His chemical line comes down to the bed of the truck, follows the rest of the lines, and same thing goes to his first tank with a bulkhead right on side of the chemical side of his 1-inch manifold. These 2 lines here are going to come down with 1/2-inch braided hose. This one will be hooked up for a surfactant. He is just going to run out of a 5-gallon bucket, so we left that. We can give him some hose if he decides that he wants to buy the hose from us, but he's going to run his 5-gallon buckets right behind this pole right here. They'll fit perfectly next to that bulkhead coming out of the side of the tank right there. So he's going to have one 5-gallon bucket for surfactant and then another 5-gallon bucket he'll be able to tie into this, and if he ever needs degreaser or anything like that, he'll be able to cut these valves off. And we ran it 1/2-inch to keep from starving the pump. So he cut this valve on by itself, and he can pull degreaser, or if he needs, you know, whatever chemical he needs for upsells or whatever he upsold on a job, anything like that. Pretty beneficial if you don't have anything but maybe a little pump sprayer or something like that, and you got a bigger area to cover. You can pull through your 12-volt versus having to use a little pump sprayer or something like that. So good idea. A little more costly than what a 3-valve system would be, and a good bit more costly than something like this, just because you save money on the regular ball valve. But in all, a great idea if that is something that you run into a lot. If you have a lot of areas that you need to coat with, say, a degreaser or a rust removal. Like I know we did a parking lot in the past where it was pretty much half of the parking lot was coated in rust. So we had to spray the entire parking lot with a pump-up sprayer because we did not have the ability to run a 4th valve like this, and it took a lot longer than it would if we would have had something like this. So if that's something that you want to think about, it's definitely beneficial if you run into a lot of jobs where you may need that. Moving on, got his switch for his 12-volt mounted here. He did just get here, so we're about to get these batteries thrown in there. And the way that we're going to set those batteries up is we're going to have one battery for a pressure washer and his 12-volt, and then the other battery is going to be strictly for a single pressure washer. and it's good. He bought 2 of the same exact battery. We recommended this being that if he ever forgets to charge a battery or something like that, he's able to just pull his wires off of the battery that his 12 volt is currently hooked to and just tie them into the other battery, and he's able to keep running and he doesn't have to stop. So definitely a good recommendation there. And this is how we were able to set his 12 volt up. So we put his 12 volt in the bottom box, being that if he ever has any leaks or if a hose blows out, or if you've ran 12 volts for a while, you know these fittings like to crack on you. Different things like that. I mean, you never know what'll happen. Right now on the trailer that we did for him, they had everything in the same box, even their blend manifold. So it was a box about this size, and they had blend manifold, pump, battery, and their switch was on right on the outside of the box, kind of like it is here. But in this case, this is 2 completely separate boxes. So we were able to mount his pump here, drilled holes through the box running out to the manifold and to the reel. And then right here we ran his wiring up, and we drilled a little hole in the very corner of the box to pull up right here. And this is going to tie into obviously some jumpers that will run to his battery whenever we go to throw that in just a second. And the third wire coming from the switch, he bought these boxes used, which is definitely good because these boxes are very expensive if you go to buy them new. If you ever have bought these boxes new, you know what I'm talking about. So I guess whoever had these last kind of hit it here or had something mounted here and whatever, tried to pull it off or push on it and dented the box right here. So what that did is open up a perfect gap for us to be able to slide this wire right here coming from the switch through there. This part of the box was cracked, so what I did was took a 3/8 drill bit, finished drilling out the hole that was right here, and all I did was took a piece of hose and shoved the wire the other wire that was coming from the switch through this hose, and I was able to pull it through the bottom box right here. And what that's going to do is it's just going to keep the wire protected, you know, more than if you were to just shove the wire through the box right there, because we could have got grommets or something like that, or heat shrink, or, you know, there's a bunch of different options whenever it comes to running wires through these types of boxes to keep them from getting cut up or worn out over time, vibration, whatever the case may be. But we had it on hand in the store already, so I said I'm gonna just throw that piece of hose over it, and I'll put some tape around it and, you know, make it look good going into the box. Plus it'll keep his wires protected as well. So all these boxes on the side right here, it is a lot of storage, which is definitely never a bad thing whenever it comes to owning a soft wash company, for sure, because you got extra guns, extra wands, hoses, extra fittings, you know, extra pump if you want to keep an extra pump on your truck or trailer. He's got all the storage that he could ever need to keep whatever he wants to. If he wouldn't have bought all these boxes and we weren't to put them on this side of the truck, you know, there's always options to be able to mount more stuff on the truck. You know, you can mount water-fed poles or another pressure washer, another soft wash system, whatever you want to do. But we like to dump the reels off of the passenger side of the truck. That way you can just roll up to the job and you're pulling straight off to the house or to the building or whatever the case may be. So this side of the truck would have been empty, and he decided to just go ahead and throw all these boxes on this side. That way he never has to worry about storage or anything like that. And he went ahead and mounted his fuel tank for both of his pressure washers under here. And we went ahead and it did just have these caps on it whenever we got it, so we had to go source these locally. This is, I forget what these fittings are called, so it's some kind of specialty fitting. It's not a standard or a metric thread on them. Some kind of other specialty fitting that we had to source locally, and then we just ran his fuel lines, 5/16 fuel lines under the bed, following all the other wires and lines under there, back to his 8-gallon-a-minute pressure washers. In all, took us about 3 days. We were able to finish everything up, and that does include pulling equipment and parts and pieces off of the trailer, and also building back the trailer to where it is functional. We did go ahead and throw their two older pressure washers back on the trailer. I believe it was a 5-gallon-a-minute and a 4-gallon-a-minute. So we were able to throw those back on the trailer for him and get all that hooked back up. We did have to reduce the suction lines coming from the water tank back to those pressure washers, because 8 gallon a minute is a 1-inch suction line coming from the water, and anything smaller than that, we run a 3/4 suction line. So we were able to get the trailer rig back out for him. He does want to do a few more things to the trailer before he does get rid of it. I know we're waiting on a 12-volt pump to come in for him, and we're going to be throwing that on here and throwing this pump back on their trailer. He just needed this fully functional for tomorrow because they do have jobs tomorrow. We're glad we're able to get that done for him. We're going to go ahead and throw these batteries in here, and he should be ready to roll after that. We're going to test out everything, and until then, oh shit. Bro, like if I was standing here talking to somebody about this shit, I could talk about it all day.
Well, I know, yeah.
Whenever it comes to looking at a damn camera, it's a pain in the ass. Y'all stay happy, humble, and money hungry.